Chapter 1932, Hell Tavern 1. Look, it's coming again. Uncle, you look serious. It was the exact same building with the exact same Hell Tavern sign. It's like we're stuck here. Why can't we leave? Johnny didn't say anything. He just kept riding toward the highway ahead and analyzed everything he saw around him with his smart system. The scene matches 100%. You've been here before. When Zhang encountered the Hell Tavern for the third time, he finally stopped his motorcycle on the side of the road. This is Mammon's dream. We must complete certain prerequisites before we can leave. Perhaps we have to go into this tavern to find out what will happen next. Zhang parked his motorcycle on the side of the road, secured it, then carried Yang Xinxin down and leaned against the motorcycle, staring coldly at the inconspicuous little tavern. The second hand of time was activated, and his sixth sense was terrifyingly strong, already aware of the great danger that existed in this place. What should we do? Should we try to destroy this place? Lu Karen wiped the sweat from her forehead, looking slightly nervous. After all, she didn't have much experience in battle. Especially today, after seeing so many strange scenes, she was covered in sweat. At this moment, Kanda spoke up. This place is full of strange things. We'd better not make any rash moves. Don't forget, this is the dream world of a demon lord. It must follow certain rules. After all, no one would deliberately create disorder in a dream. Dreams are the subconscious, so there must be rules to be found. For example, the lords of the netherworld we encountered earlier all followed certain rules. Crow soldiers are a fighting force, so the Crow of Doom mainly relies on its combat abilities. Its individual combat abilities are powerful, but this wasn't apparent at first. Instead, it grew stronger as the battle progressed. If it hadn't fought us, it wouldn't have kept splitting. As for the immortal demon child, it looks terrifying, but it displays the mischievous side of a child. It's destructive, innocent, greedy, and fearless in the face of danger. Zhang Yi and the others listened carefully to Kanda's analysis. He had always been the guiding spirit of the team. Then what does the tavern represent? Zhang Yi asked, his eyes dark as he stared intently at the tavern in front of him, thinking hard. Kanda said, this area only has taverns. We obviously can't escape, even with your abilities. Then we must first enter the game and then break it. So my opinion is that you should enter the tavern. Hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. Although they felt that doing so might be risky, it was indeed the only option at the moment. Lu Karen comforted Zhang Yi, brother Zhang Yi, if you're worried about danger, I'll bomb this godforsaken place first. If that doesn't work, we'll just call in the Reaper of Love. Lu Karen, a mechanic, always had simple and violent ideas. She liked to use weapons to solve everything. That won't be necessary. Zhang Yi called Lu Karen over and said, Karen, use the mechanical soldiers to scout ahead first. See what the situation is like inside. Lu Karen nodded and immediately took out 2 mechanical lifeform soldiers, then controlled them to walk towards the tavern. She stared intently at the display screen on her tactical helmet. However, as soon as the 2 mechanical lifeform soldiers pushed open the tavern doors, everyone saw only darkness. In the next moment, the image in front of Lu Karen's eyes turned into a snowstorm. We've lost the signal. Lu Karen looked at Zhang Yi with some unease. Zhang Yi calmly took out a pack of cigarettes, lit one for himself, and took a deep drag. White smoke slowly drifted out of his mouth and dissipated in midair. He didn't like smoking, but only used it occasionally as a way to socialize or relieve boredom. Nicotine was indeed helpful in relieving anxiety and irritability. We've already come this far, so there's no turning back now. He patted Lu Karen and Yang Xinxin on the head and smiled gently. All right, you two go into the shadows. Leave the rest to me. Brother, be careful. Although she knew that Zhang Yi had powerful self-defense abilities, Lu Karen still reminded him. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Zhang Yi smiled, but his eyes were fixed on the old tavern, his gaze sharp. Yang Xinxin and Lu Karen returned to the shadows. Even in the shadows, they could still help Zhang Yi. If they noticed anything wrong, they could emerge from the shadows. However, most of the time, they stayed in the shadows so as not to burden Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi put away the magic sword in his hand, and divine refinement changed its shape. After a clang sound, it turned into chains that wrapped around Zhang Yi's arms. In a small space like a tavern, chains were easier and more convenient to use than long swords, and they were not as obvious, making it easier to launch sudden attacks and deal with various unexpected situations. The tavern doors were half open, and it was dark inside, so he couldn't see anything. A desolate wind blew across the wasteland, and the tavern doors creaked. Zhang Yi parked his armed motorcycle outside and walked toward the tavern. He reached out to push the tavern door, and the moment his right hand touched the doorknob, an image flashed before his eyes. The second hand of time allowed him to see 4 seconds into the future. When he saw the scene before him, his brow immediately furrowed, and his eyes were filled with surprise. The inside of the tavern looked extremely strange. Although it was an old tavern, only 2 dim incandescent lights were lit, and candlesticks from centuries ago hung on the walls, their candles flickering. From the outside, the space inside didn't look very big, but judging from what he could see through the second hand of time, when he entered the tavern, it was like a huge hall. Several strange-looking people sat quietly drinking at the tables and bar, not a word spoken. Some of them were abnormally large, like houses, while others were as small as humans, and he didn't know what species they belonged to. But for some reason, right in front of the tavern, there was a platform like a church altar. A woman dressed in black robes stood in front of the platform, her hands clasped together in prayer. Suddenly, Zhang Yi's gaze stopped on a figure in the corner, and his pupils immediately contracted. Odbo? Chapter 1933, Hell Tavern 2. Zhang Yi's right hand gripped the door handle of the tavern, his eyes wide with shock. He hadn't been here long, nor had he noticed anyone else entering this area with him. But why was Odbo here in the tavern? Odbo, the chief of the Aoshi clan, was sitting in the corner of the tavern, his head bowed, silently drinking. The glass contained an unknown dark green liquid. He didn't say a word, his expression somewhat dull as he slowly sipped the strange drink. Could it be that he was the one who secretly attacked me back then? Zhang Yi's heart was filled with doubt. Could he be trying to kill me and take the spear of Longinus? Thoughts raced through his mind, but Zhang Yi felt no fear at that moment. He pushed open the door of the tavern and stepped into the darkness. After Zhang Yi used the Reaper of Love to repel the immortal demon child, the entire tunnel collapsed. Everyone mysteriously left that dark world and fell into another place. The Aoshi clan was now in a very strange space. They stood on a green field, looking around with solemn expressions. The green color was not grass or trees, but an extremely thick gas rising up, an oily green color with a strong toxin. As soon as they entered this space, several members of the Aoshi clan accidentally stepped into a puddle and immediately let out screams. The liquid in the puddles was dark green and immediately corroded their feet into white bones, and the toxins continued to spread rapidly up their legs, quickly turning their entire legs into white bones. The Aoshi clan had always maintained a primitive lifestyle and were accustomed to various toxins and ferocious beasts. Seeing this scene, Ao Tsuntian did not hesitate to raise the spear in his hand and cut off their thighs with one blow. Blood spattered everywhere, and they survived by losing their legs. The original legs, now reduced to bones, fell to the ground and soon shattered like glass, quickly dissolved by the green poisonous liquid. Ao Guanhai walked up to the 2 injured tribesmen, placed his hands on their wounds, closed his eyes, and chanted something. After a moment, several black vines sprouted from his palms and pierced the 2 men's bodies. Before long, the 2 men's lost legs grew back. This place is full of toxins, and there may be unknown risks. Everyone stay close to me and be careful. The clan chief, Odbo, held a white bone scepter in his hand and looked around with a solemn expression. Black shamanic talismans swirled around his body, and even though he was also standing in the poisonous liquid, the highly toxic corrosive liquid did not cause him any harm. He chanted softly, calling on their distant ancestors to guide them. At this mysterious moment, in the name of my clan, I call upon our ancestors with all my heart. O ancient souls that traverse the mists of time, hear our prayers. Across the vast land, our clan members are scattered like stars. May our ancestors spread their protective wings like a sturdy barrier, repelling all disasters, keeping our clan members free from illness, and allowing every life to rest in peace. The path ahead is shrouded in mist, filled with the unknown. May our ancestors illuminate the darkness with their wisdom, guiding us toward the right direction. May our steps be firm, treading the correct path, pursuing the dawn of hope, and walking toward prosperity and peace. We offer our most sincere respect and gratitude for the power bestowed upon us by our ancestors. May this protection and guidance burn like an eternal flame, passed down through the generations, never to be extinguished. The shaman's prayer was extremely lengthy, and every shaman had to memorize it in its entirety. It was like a code for communicating with the power of the ancestors. However, according to Ling's explanation of spirits, this communication may not be the so-called power of the ancestors, but another kind of power of faith. That is the power of the Aoshi clan. The true ancestors exist in the blood of each person, preserved in the double helix structure of DNA. After praying with these words, Odibio soon sensed a force guiding him. He stuck the white bone staff in his hand into the muddy ground of the swamp, and a black light screen immediately rose from the staff and quickly expanded, enveloping all the clan members in the middle. The members of the Aoshi clan felt a call, and that warm power made them feel peaceful. Together with Odibio, they began to recite the ancient incantation. They chose a direction and began to move rapidly in that direction. Every member of the Aoshi clan ran at top speed, like lions on the grasslands. Soon, they saw a small hill appear in the distance on the marsh. Wow! Eerie wails rang out, and at the same time, the surrounding marshland began to swell, like a rugged human face suddenly covered with pus-filled boils. Seeing this scene, the Aoshi clan did not show the slightest fear in their eyes, but instead burned with fiery passion. Immortal demon child, we found you. The pus-filled boils on the ground burst open, and countless gray netherwalkers crawled out, letting out shrill screeches before charging toward the Aoshi clan. For thousands of years, these were the netherwalkers that the Aoshi clan had been fighting against. They were once a human tribe on the land of Feijo, but the tribe of imps was summoned by the power of Mammon and chose to fall into darkness. They were originally the same tribe as the Aoshi clan. Because of this, the Aoshi clan could not tolerate their existence. This led to endless years of battle between the two tribes. The immortal demon child is the soul of the fallen humans and the will born from dreams when Mammon was sealed. The fusion of the two created this huge monster that looks like a dead baby. The immortal demon child and the little demons are the mortal enemies of the Aoshi clan. Because they come from the same source, after they fell, they hated the humans on the surface even more. For many years, they never stopped attacking them. Encountering them here today, Odibio was convinced that this was the will of his ancestors and their destiny. They must stay here and completely destroy these monsters that were wreaking havoc on the grasslands. Odibio raised his scepter high and shouted in a harsh voice, "It is the spirits of our ancestors that have guided us here. It is the mission of the Aoshi clan to destroy them. Today, we will end their sins and send them to hell."